But don't hold your breath, because I'm afraid for Sunday we've got a return of the very unsettled conditions. Wet and windy weather sweeping in from the west. Weather warnings are in force for much of the day and for much of the UK. That system takes its time to whiz across the UK, but it should be a little bit better for Monday. That's it. Good night. Sleep well. See you soon.
Heinz Big Soup sponsors ITV National Weather.
Good evening. A major police search is underway for a young woman missing in rural County Durham. 23-year-old Jenny Hall was last seen on Tuesday evening after leaving her home in Towlaw. Police say they've been searching hundreds of miles of track along with mountain rescue volunteers. Chris Jepson has more details.
3 days of searching and still nothing. Police officers from Durham Constabulary scouring the area. Downstream, each step deliberate, moving the undergrowth in the hope there could be a clue. They're searching for Jenny Hall, who was last seen on Tuesday afternoon. The 23-year-old left her home in Towlaw just after 3 o'clock that day. She's been missing ever since, and her red Ford Focus car was found yesterday, parked up on the B6278 between Stanhope and Eggleston. Today, the Mountain Rescue have been coordinating search teams from this car park, using local knowledge and maps of the area to focus the search.
This is a massive search on day 1 and day 2. We've had up to 40-odd people from 5 mountain rescue teams here, plus dogs, plus drones. So it's typical moorland terrain, it's heather, it's boggy, it's wet, it's tough going. And so it's not easy to search.
Over the last 2 days, 100 miles has been covered by specialist teams in Weardale, and now the search centres here in Hamsterley Forest, where Jenny often runs.
Where we know that Jenny is a keen runner and a keen fell runner, would spend a lot of her time running in this area, very familiar with this area. So today our efforts have been focused on searching the tracks and trails of Hamsterley Forest. And we've got vehicles supported by Mountain Rescue. We've had some bikes on some of those trails as well, like motorbikes, to try and cover as much ground as we possibly can. We've got officers out on foot, specialist search team officers doing a foot search, along with the support of our colleagues from a number of mountain rescue services.
And how are the family coping at the moment?
The family are understandably very concerned. You know, we've got specialist officers working with the family to support them at the moment. Of course, as I say, we're on day 3 now of looking for Jenny, so they're understandably very, very concerned.
Covering as much terrain as possible. There's only so much they can do before it gets dark. Tonight, the teams will rest before entering day 4 in the search for Jenny Hall.
Chris Jepson with that report from Hamsterley Forest, where searches are set to continue across the weekend. Prudhoe High School in Northumberland will be closed for a further 9 months after cracks were found in one of the upper floors of the building. The issue was discovered last week, and the school has been closed since, with students learning online from home. Engineers have now confirmed the building is not safe. The Cheviot Learning Trust has apologised to parents and pupils, particularly GCSE and A-level students, and says options are being explored for the rest of the school year. The Education Secretary has been in Northumberland, where she promised new protections for parents over changes to the cost of early years care. It comes as the government confirms millions of pounds to extend funded childcare for working families later this year. Helen Ford has more details.
From the sound to the texture, there are few things more satisfying than playing with pasta. At this nursery school outside Durham, it's one of several materials, along with glitter, glue, paints and paper, which incur a charge for families. Manager Catherine Wire says the nursery aims to be completely transparent about these extra costs, which, she says, are essential to make ends meet.
Minimum wage is going up, national insurance boundary is going down. So there's lots of costs associated for nurseries like this to try and navigate. So that is really, really difficult. And even though the funding is there, it's probably not as much funding as we need.
The issue of these additional charges was highlighted by the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, as she confirmed an extension to the early years childcare scheme funded by government. Many working families are entitled to a certain number of funded hours of care each week. From September, that will be extended, so families of preschool children from 9 months old can claim up to 30 hours of care a week.
We've listened to and engaged with the sector on this point, but I do believe it's important that parents have got clarity about what they're being charged and why, and aren't denied places on the basis of a lack of clarity around what's being charged for. I think it is important that we have more transparency so that parents can make considered choices.
So how is that message being received by parents? Back in County Durham, I sat down with Becky Fishwick, whose son attends Woodlands Nursery and where she assists with admin work.
I was one of the people that was able to get some of the funding hours for my son to come here, and that was brilliant, such a welcome thing. And I think actually maybe they're just missing the point a little bit. And is transparency the issue, or is it the fact that actually those funded places aren't fully funded? And that's what needs to happen.
Are we ready to go?
Few would deny the importance of early years education. The question is how to ensure that children have the very best start in life.
Next, to the moving story of a North Shields man who wants to raise awareness of a condition he has described as a ticking time bomb. Lee Wilkinson was diagnosed with motor neurone disease 6 years ago, an illness affecting the brain and nerves. He's determined to make the most of every day, and Katie Cole has been to meet him.
Lee Wilkinson says to understand what life is like with motor neurone disease, you have to see it. We spent the day with him, starting at this hydrotherapy session at the RVI in Newcastle.
It's just so good being in the water, and it's just all your muscles all soft and that, and it's just fantastic.
53-year-old Lee was diagnosed 6 years ago. He was an ice hockey coach, a scout leader, and worked as a gardener. Every aspect of his life has changed.
Just like simple things, dropping something on the floor, struggling to pick that up, and also struggling getting my hold on, but you've just got to find different way of doing things.
Once a month, he comes to Newcastle Falcons rugby ground for an MND support group. A charity, the MND Association, run 4 groups like this across the North East. Today, this one is marking its 3rd birthday.
So we just want to raise a toast. So happy birthday, everyone.
The group was set up by 2 women who lost their husbands to MND. Kevin Nicol from Ponteland was 51 when he died 11 years ago.
There was nothing in the area for anybody to come to. So it's just the social aspect. And we keep it so upbeat and positive. And losing somebody at MND, you realise how isolated you feel sometimes. And people don't always understand what you're going through.
Natalie Lynn from Stannington was diagnosed a year ago, and it's impacted her speech. She tells me to be around people with the same condition is comforting. And it's this positive outlook that Lee has too. Some things MND can't take away.
Go on, cheers! Been coming for 10 years now. It's just one friendly club. I enjoy stuff like this. It's just so frustrating not being able to do things, but you've just got to accept it and just get on life the best you can.
In September, with the support of a friend, Lee will do the Great North Run to raise awareness of motor neurone disease and fundraise for the charity supporting him. One day he hopes a cure can be found for a condition that has changed the course of his life. Katie Cole, ITV News.
And that's all from the evening team tonight. We hope you've had a lovely Friday evening. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back with updates across both Saturday and Sunday. Bye-bye.
Visibility is clear today. Both above and below the water. TUI sponsors ITV Time Tease weather.
Hello, good evening. So, of course, we ended the week with some wet and windy weather, but it has been calming down through this evening and overnight. Some clearer skies, some lighter breezes, and tomorrow, decent day, mostly dry and bright. But into Sunday, very different. Wet and windy weather is on the way. Low pressure brought the unsettled conditions today. It's moved its way up towards the north. We get that respite tomorrow in the sunshine, really lovely. But then low pressure is going to move its way in from the west into the early hours of Sunday, bringing wet and windy weather. A warning in place for that already. Gusts of 60, maybe 70 miles an hour. For now, then, to contrast that, things looking a lot calmer overnight. Yes, the clouds coming and going, but even where we see prolonged clearer skies, temperatures should be holding up at around 6 or 7 degrees. That's about right for daytime at this time of year, so we know we've got that head start for temperatures heading into Saturday morning. Saturday, a bit of stubborn cloud around first thing. It's lifting, it's breaking. We are going to see those brighter breaks developing. Sunny spells, certainly, as we head into the afternoon. Small chance of an isolated shower, but they rattle through quickly. When it comes to temperatures, highs of around 11 or 12 degrees. So again, in the sunshine, a nice day. That's it from me. Have a great weekend.
TUI sponsors ITV Time Tease weather.
The name's Hannah Dawson, 22. A body was found at Glasson Dock.
It was